All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the January 30th Women in Toastmasters meeting. I'm your Sergeant at Arms, Amy Kirkland. And today our theme is product roadmaps. And as product managers, we all have to deal with product roadmaps. Sometimes they are the bane of our existence, trying to make sure that we're conveying the right information. There's lots of different types of roadmaps out there and lots of different tools to use them. And I'm hoping that we're going to hear some cool ideas to all learn something new about roadmaps today. So at this time, I would like to introduce our secretary, Jennifer Ginsberg.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. For those of you guys who are new to our club, when we have a couple of guests on today, just to ground us, the reason why we meet every other Sunday is to really expand our ability to be able to speak as women in product. And so our mission and vision is to be able to empower every woman's voice at the table. So this is a great opportunity for every one of us to come together and help each other as a community to be able to do that. So I'm going to lead us through some club business first, and then I'd love to get welcome our guests after that, and then we'll kick off into the meeting. Couple of announcements here. I just want to say thank you so much to Shruti. We had a networking event this past week. It was fun. I was able to join for a little bit. Those kind of things, those are the reasons why we come together as a club. And I really appreciate the time and effort that she put into that, because those things, even though they seem like they're easy, they are not. It's just herding cats sometimes and putting together topics for us to talk about. And I really appreciate that. So thank you so much. The second thing that I'd like to announce here is we did have the position of PR. So our public relations person was unfortunately needed to take a step back for personal reasons. And as a result, Sarah, who is on the call today, has agreed to take on that role until we get into more of the voting kind of aspects. So thank you so much, Sarah. I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out of the PR group. And it's just another way for us to promote our club and to promote our vision and mission of bringing every woman's voice to the table. So thank you. And also thank you to all of those sub-team members in that group as well. So thank you for stepping up on that, Sarah. The next piece about club business, and we've been talking about this for the past couple of club meetings, is an exciting event at our next meeting, which is going to be club contests. So if you think about it, we practice our speeches every other Sunday, but this is really a special time for folks who are really wanting to compete and have been coming up to the table, if you will, to be able to really put themselves out there and compete not only within our club, but then there's opportunities after that competition to go and speak at our Women in Product conference, which is scheduled to be in May, as well as the International Speech Contest, which is part of the Toastmasters line of contests as well. And then we also opened it up for an evaluator contest as well. So that meeting is next week, or in our next meeting, so February 13th, just before Valentine's Day. So I would really encourage everyone who is a member of this club to attend. I mean, people put in a lot of effort. There's special prizes at the end of this. And so I would really encourage everybody to support each other, come to the meeting. I know Erica, who was not able to make it today, who is our club president, has been diligently working through trying to get people who can fill the roles of a judge. I'm going to be the chief judge. So we have chief judge, who's me. We've got a couple of judges who's going to help us get through our contest next week. And then we have a timer and a ballot counter. So if you are a judge or a timer or a ballot counter, I will be reaching out to you directly between now and February 13th to make sure we all understand, hey, here's how it's going to go down. Here's what your role is as a judge, and be able to collect information. So we haven't done club contests, I believe, happen typically twice a year. This one's a special one because it's timed specifically for the women in product speaking piece. So it's really special. So I want to make sure a couple of things. If you are a judge, a timer, or a ballot counter, be on a lookout for emails from me. I'll walk you guys through, here's what your roles and responsibilities are. And in email, I'll also be sending out contestants, and actually Erica may have already done this, but I'll just double check. What are the rule books? How long speeches need to be? How does the evaluation piece work when we're doing the evaluation contest? So be on the lookout for rule book links, expectations, and then specifically for judges, timers, and ballot counters, I'll be sending out separate email communications. And if you have one of those roles, I really encourage you to show up because that's how we support each other. And then I would also ask at the next club meeting to please join about 15 minutes early. That's going to be me giving you a verbal readout of what exactly we need to be judging on. I'll have that in the email communications, but I always think sometimes we need to get together to be able to go through that and field questions ad hoc. Okay. In doing the timing for the next club meeting, because it is a special contest, I do believe we'll be able to get through everything on the agenda in our typical normal club meeting timeframe, so about an hour and a half-ish. But I do ask that for those of you guys who are active participants, meaning you're a speaker, you hold a special role, reserve a little bit of extra time at the end there. It's always a little bit, if for those of you guys, there's many new people on this call, but for those of you guys who were with us last time, it did take a little bit of time to just count up all the votes. I'm trying to make it as streamlined as possible compared to last year. So we may be able to shave off a lot of time, but just in case, just reserve an extra 15 minutes afterwards, just in case, okay? All right. And then for those of you guys, just as a reminder, that Women in Product Conference, May 10th to 11th is gonna, you'll have seen some additional communications about that. We are actively, there's a few of us who are actively helping to vet speakers and proposals. Proposals were due last week, so we're going through some of that. There's a whole vetting process that occurs as part of that. But I do encourage each and every one of you to be able to make it to that meeting, that conference. It was great last year. And we also have like a networking event that we'll be hosting as a part of that as well. All right. The other announcement here is one of the things that I'm asking folks to do. This is more of a secretary kind of function than a president function, but I would really love it if you, at the end of a meeting, if you happen to have a table topics master role, if you could send me, Jennifer Ginsburg, the secretary, what your table topic questions were, and that'll just help me update the minutes and the notes after the fact. Okay, so that's something that's new. Ritu, I reached out to her this past week and she knows what she needs to do, but it's ongoing, something I'm going to ask folks to do, and that'll just help me out. All right. And then last but not least here, as far as club announcements, meet with your mentor. We kicked off this mentorship program, I want to say late last year in Q4. Your mentors are great people to help you through working through your speeches. They're great sounding boards to be able to walk through how do you navigate the Toastmasters learning management systems and courses and things like that. They're a great resource for you to navigate your way through multiple speeches that you have. Okay. One other last plug, and I didn't add this to the agenda here, but one of the things that if you are a speech contestant, there are eligibility rules specifically for the international competition. I believe Amy has sent out an email to you. Please be sure to respond back to her. We need to make sure if you are competing for the international piece, that you meet those minimum eligibility standards. The women in product standards here, I know Erica had sent out, hey, here's what our theme is. Try and couch your speech if you're specifically going for the women in products contest. prize winner to really focus in on those particular themes, and we'll go from there. Okay. What questions do you have? Any questions? And let me go to the chat because sometimes I don't always look at that. Hang on. Okay. All right. So last but not least, I'd love to be able to hear from some of our new guests. I believe we've got 2 new guests on, and I'll start. What I'd love to do is if we could have our spotlighter SAA spotlight Tiffany. Tiffany, if you don't mind introducing yourself, and then also provide a little bit of background on like, how did you find us and what do you hope to get out of today's today?
Oh, hey everyone, I'm Tiffany. I'm currently working towards becoming the first product manager at the startup I work at. And yeah, like public speaking and improv skills is something I know I need to work on. So I thought Toastmasters plus women in product would be a great combination. So I'm super glad this group exists.
Awesome. Well, welcome, Tiffany. And then also we have a Q&A session following up on this. So a few of us will hang out. So if you have questions after today, we can field some of your questions, and hopefully you'll find value in our clip today.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah. And then I believe we have another guest, Sophia.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Sophia. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm working as a program/product manager for Delta Airlines. I was introduced to this group by Amy, and she's my friend from another executive accelerator group. And I'm really excited to be here because for this year, my goal is to improve my public speaking skills. And I'm glad that this online group from the comfort of my home, I can do that. So I'm really excited to be here.
I love that. Thank you, Sophia. And thank you for joining us. Let me just take a quick glance. I think I caught all the other new guests.
One more that joined.
Oh, Swati. Is that who you're seeing? Yeah. Hi, Swati.
Hi everyone. I am a returning guest, so I have been a member of the club before, and because of my busy schedule, I had to drop off. But then now, this year, I want to start participating in the meetings again and probably become a member as well. Let's see how that goes. As I am currently working, I run my own product services company. I've been running it for the past 1 year. And just in general, Toastmasters is one of the things which I've always enjoyed. And this club is a great club to be. And like, I'm looking forward to today's meeting.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us back again, Swati. It's been good to see your smiling face. All right, with that, I would love to turn it over to our Toastmaster of the day, who is Tanya. Tanya, if you'd like to go ahead and kick us off here with our regular club meeting. Thank you.
Sure. Let me just fold up this roadmap. I was just looking at.
I love it.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to all our fellow Toastmasters, and a special warm welcome to the 3 guests we have today. And it is the start of the most wonderful time of the year. If you didn't know, wait, I think the last time I was Toastmaster in May, I said the same thing. Back then it was hockey playoff season, but now it's football playoff season. And I happen to be a Cincinnati Bengals fan for my whole life. And the last time they went to a conference championship, I was a teenager. So let's do that math. So today is a very big deal for me, not only because I'm a Toastmaster, but because of the Bengals. And I'm excited to talk about and learn from you all on product roadmaps. As you know, the product roadmap is the heart and soul of a product manager's life. They come in all shapes and sizes and colors and formats and timescales. And I just have a couple of examples from my from my world that I was just going to show you, because so you can see the contrast. Host disabled, participant share. Oh, I can't share. Shoot. Okay, well, I can't share. I apologize.
I just made you a co-host so you can share.
Okay, awesome. Here we go. Just 2 slides I just wanted to share. So this roadmap is a draft roadmap that I have some folks on my team working on. We divide up into quarters, and one thing that probably would strike you as strange is how can we fit features perfectly into quarters like that? And that's not really how life works. But from an executive level, our executives like to see, where we're targeting different features. And then here at the bottom is just another way that we, if we're talking to the engineers, we would show a little bit more detail on, what the features are and in what quarter they would fall. This roadmap is something that a vendor presented to us this year, or this past week. And it's colorful. It has, I liked the way they have the colors broken out, the strategic, the tactical, the integration. The thing that's a little bit, and it is a vendor world, is, going all the way out to June of 2023, and that it's going to be a 5.1 release. Software development doesn't roll like that, but I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to show their vision. They're trying to, get us to buy in on what's coming up, and obviously spend more money with them. But those are just a couple of examples. I'm sure you all have different tools that you use. We are a very heavy PowerPoint shop. I know that Jira and Confluence, they all have their own roadmap tools. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. So today I would like to introduce our team and to give us a brief explanation of their roles. I would like to start with our general evaluator, Monique. Would you please tell us about your role today?
Sure, thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So I am general evaluator today. My role is to pay attention to every detail of the meeting from before we start till the end. And I also will be a big part of the second portion of our meeting, the evaluation portion. I have 2 speech evaluators today, which are Svetlana and Olena, who will be evaluating Siri and Shruti respectively, and also have a few other team members that I will let you introduce, Tanya. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Monique. Our R counter today is Amelia. Would you please let us know what you are counting?
Yes, sorry, got a little window there. Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster and fellow Toastmasters and guests. The purpose of the R counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks. During the meeting, I will listen for overused words, including and, well, but, so, and . I will also listen for filler words, including and I will also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase, such as I, or this means. At the end of the meeting, I will report the number of times that each speaker has used these expressions, starting from now. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Rosie. She will be our timer. Rosie, give us a high level of what you'll be clocking in.
Definitely. Today, I will be fulfilling the role of timer. And so my job is to keep track of the time taken by each participant. So that includes the table topics, speakers, formal speeches, and evaluations. I'll give feedback using the timing card, so my background, and when the background turns green, that indicates that the minimum time has been met. The speaker will then start to wrap up their speech as the yellow card is shown. And when the red background comes up, that means that the speaker has reached their time limit. Awesome.
Thank you, Rosie. And next up will be our table topics master, Richu. Could you please explain table topics and what you'll be doing today?
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. As table topic masters today, I will ask questions in the theme of today, which is product roadmaps. These questions are meant to be impromptu, so you get an opportunity to quickly organize your thoughts and express to your experience or to your liking to that specific question. These questions will be in theme, as I just said. So after all the table topic questions have been completed, there is going to be an opportunity to vote for the best speaker. And that would be evaluated by the vote counter.
Thank you, Richu. And our vote counter is Sina.
Thank you, Ma'am Toastmaster. So I am the vote counter for the day. I would be counting everybody's votes. So what happens is at the end of the call, we will ask you to give your favorite table topics person, and then we'll declare the winner and they get the bragging rights for the day.
They sure do. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you all for filling these crucial roles today. Before we hear from our speakers, I'd like to introduce our grammarian, Marguerite Ousley, who will explain her role and also let us know what the word of the day is. Marguerite?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I'll take note of any improper language, as well as any outstanding words, quotes, sayings, or thoughts. And it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. And today's word is galvanize, which means to shock or excite someone into taking action, galvanize. So an example of using this word is, in a sentence, is the marketing campaign has galvanized support for the project. And everyone who speaks today is encouraged to use the word of the day. And later on, I'll give the grammarian report, which will, and I'll identify everyone who used the word of the day and call out any key phrases that I noticed during the meeting. Last time, the word of the day is galvanize. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Marguerite. That is an awesome word. I'm going to try very hard to use it in a sentence. So our first speaker today is giving her first speech, the icebreaker. I love this part. Sarisha LaRue's friends and family call her Siri. She enjoys hobbies such as hiking, singing, and dancing, and has been working in product for 8 years. She is grateful for Toastmasters Club to further hone her skills in communicating and product management. The title of her speech is Work, Family, Dance, a Life's Balancing Act. Because this is her first speech, we will, the time is 4 to 6 minutes. And Sarisha, welcome.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. So I have little slides prepared for the speech as well. I can go without slides or with, I don't know how we do here with slides and icebreaker. So what would be the choice?
I'm totally cool with slides.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just to, because it's virtual, right? So it'll help go from one topic to the other. So can I just click on share? Okay, I have the slides. And let me know when you can see my screen. Oh, not the screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't get into this presenter mode, so I'll go with this. Okay, greetings, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I'm very, very excited and grateful for this opportunity to give my first icebreaker speech, which is titled Work, Dance, Family, a Life's Balancing Act. Outside work, how many of you have a sport or a art as a hobby? I know some of you do. Would you like to share? How many? Can you raise your hands? Oh yeah, so you know what I'm talking about, right? So Well, my hobby is dancing. So let me kick off with, showing an interesting study that I stumbled upon 4 years ago. So a scientist took an average healthy person of 80 years of lifespan, and they broke it down into like time spent in years. Roughly, we spend 33 years in sleeping or trying to sleep and 13 years in working. If you take any other things like out like day-to-day activities, that leaves only 4 years to spend on a hobby. 4 years. When I saw this study, first I thought it wasn't true, but I checked few more other places and it is true. We have only 4 years to spend on a hobby. So now it made me think. I'm in my 30s, working and have two kids, and I haven't had spent any time on things that I was passionate about. So I had this sudden urge in like trying to turn back the clocks and maybe make this right. Who wouldn't, right? This actually galvanized me into finding a dance school and enroll, because dance was my passion, and that is how my journey began. First few months was very hard. Learning dance was very demanding, and my life started to feel like a balancing act, juggling work, family, dancing. Sometimes I did well, most of the times not so much. I even discontinued couple of times because I was not able to keep up. So, but I kept going back because I thought something was missing. And then I realized there is a better way to do it with less stressful. So then I realized how to make things work. So my dance teacher, when we started in the school, she was very strict teacher, and she always used to tell me like, be strong, you can do it, find your balance, stay focused, you're confident, keep smiling. Even my legs hurting, you need to keep your smile, and you need to do the same sequence over and over and over and again until you get it. Interestingly, the dedication and perseverance that I'm putting in dance sequence, I started applying in other aspects of my life too, especially in my career. I started taking risks, accepting failures more gracefully, and willing to try new things. For example, this club, Toastmasters Club. So now this all sounds very glorious, right? But where is the balance aspect of this topic? Many colleagues and friends asked me, how do you do it? And like, how do you find time? Even we are interested in some of the things, but we don't find time. Honestly, I don't have an answer for that. Because I was still struggling to balance. So, but I would like to share with you today few things that I'm started doing and I'm still learning to do, making things work, pursuing my dream, as well as balancing my work and kids. So few things that I want to bring, only like three things that I want to bring. There are many things that I wanted to share, but given the time, I'm going to share three things that I saw a big benefit in balancing my life. One is like any product management, plan and prioritize. Just like work, I started applying prioritization techniques, planning ahead of time, planning like my iteration is a week. So I was planning what are the main things. Okay, do I have a dance performance coming in 2 weeks? Then I used to prioritize my practices over going out for a drink. So and also I was trying to look at like dependencies. Are there any conflicts? Am I missing any kids activities? I was prepping my Saturday meals because I have a class on Saturday, on Friday. So instead of focusing on, I was like, focusing on, I have to do 10 things by this weekend. I was focusing only the most important and prioritizing my list of things to do. And I started not worrying so much about if I'm not able to finish the low priority things. And another thing is being organized. I was organized at work, but not so much in my personal life. Then I realized like I'm wasting a lot of time in finding things, or juggling where my kids homework is, where my makeup or my dance costume is. So then I realized I should not wait until like I find time. I need to make time every single day. So put aside I call it my downtime, which nobody disturbs me. That 15 to 20 minutes, I focus on a drawer, a glove box, or something, a pantry shelf, and I just clean that 15 minutes, a time box, and I clean that every single day. That way, by the end of the week, I was not so stressed. I see all my kitchen is figured out. And finally, taking care of my core. So for any dancer, my teacher always says, like, you need to, use your core, and you need to take care of your core for the control moments in dance. And my core in my life is my supportive family and friends. I really got lucky with my husband who fills me in when with my kids and when I'm not home. But also I realized that I need to put extra effort to keep them have an activity with my family every week. I also have started doing, like, one phone call a new friend. So every week I call from my list of friends whom I haven't talked in a while. I call them and I'll just have a chat like 10 to 15 minutes. So that is, I think, helped me in one, reducing my stress, and also, balancing few things that I wasn't doing great when I started dancing. So integrating work, dancing, family, social life is what defines me today. Sometimes balancing act is like it seems like comical and non-existential, but that is what fabric of my life. I'm not trying to balance it. I'm just taking how it comes. And I feel it's very important in life and career to keep learning and finding time to do what we love. So finally, dance gave me this confident sense of accomplishment, even a venue to reduce my stress, be open to the new opportunities. And I get to meet so many great people, like few here who I get to. I'm looking forward to every Sunday to talk to new ladies, right? So I think I would thank the journey I took and the step I took like 3 years ago, which made me who I am today. So I would like to close by thanking Toastmasters and everyone here with a quote from famous Dolly Parton. Never get too busy making a living that you forget to make a life. This is my favorite quote. Thank you so much. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you so much. That was fantastic. Could we please have 2.5 minutes on the timer, Rosie, and we will pause for written remarks and Q&A. You are encouraged to send remarks to Sarisha on chat or afterwards, but I would like to start with a question. I am dying to know what kind of dance you do.
So actually, I had another slide to show me with me dressing up. So can I quickly take the shape?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is called Kuchipudi.
Oh, wow.
And it takes 4 hours to look like this before dance. So it's a quite demanding hobby, but I love it.
Wow.
Hair, makeup, dress. Yeah, it's a lot.
That's amazing. All right, any other questions?
It's an Indian classical dance.
Okay, very cool.
I have a question. Can you share a video of that, maybe on our Facebook group or something? I would love to see that dance. Like, I love that outfit. I love everything about that. Now I'm really, you got me sucked in. Maybe you can do another speech in the future about that specifically.
Yeah, I have some videos uploaded in YouTube. I can share the links. And I also dance freestyle like Bollywood. So I have those also. So yeah, I'll share some links if anyone interested.
That's so cool.
I have a question. Hey, Sirisha, how often do you perform, Kudi?
COVID really, with COVID, not so much, but I never stopped dancing. So virtually I'm learning, and any opportunity I get to dance on stage, I take it. So before COVID, at least I used to do 5 to 6 performances in a year. But with COVID, not so much, because even I'm not safe. I don't feel safe to go and mingle. It takes like a lot of practices and with other people, right? So yeah.
But that's awesome. 5 to 6 before COVID is.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I have a question as well. Shall I ask?
Sure,
please.
Yeah, I'm curious to know, like, did you start learning this dance, this new form of dancing, like just like few years ago? Like, usually I've heard that like kids learn while they're growing up. So did you like learn from scratch now, like 3 years ago, as you mentioned?
Yeah, who is this who asked
This
this
is me,
question?
Swati.
Swati, that is one thing I mean, I started when I just had a baby. Like, my son was an infant when I started. Even now, my legs, everything, picking up a hobby like dance when you're in 30s is so difficult, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, kudos to you.
Yeah, so that is why I said demanding, because first of all, our brain, I think I don't know, it's very, very hard to remember like a whole sequence of like 6 or 7 minutes of my daughter also comes with me. That is one activity I do with my daughter. She gets like that, and I'm still struggling with the same number. Yeah, so yeah, it is difficult, but nothing is impossible. So I do it for fun. I
Wow.
may not be the greatest dancer because I started late, but in my head, I'm the best.
So
Thank
cool.
you.
Okay. Well, let's move on to our second speaker today. She is Shruti Patra, as she is a principal product manager at Yum Brands, focused on building the API platform and handling brand onboarding. Her speech title is A Day in the Life of a Feature Roadmap. Shruti, a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Today, the title of my speech is A Day in the Life of a Feature Roadmap. I recently got my hands on the diary of someone called the Feature Roadmap, Feature Product Roadmap. So here is how it read. Dear Diary, it's been a long time. I had to share my feelings today with you as it was a tough day. Being the most unpretentious in my group of friends has been a challenge. The theme based roadmap was added again. She was all about how the leadership adores her and wishes to see her instead of me. Apparently, leadership appreciates her for showcasing objectives and goals tied to company vision. She calls herself brilliant for being able to portray how the product strategy will be carried out. I understand that it helps our mentor, the product manager, to seek alignment on objectives rather than features. Features don't answer the why and the what. But, dear diary, I feel terribly insignificant for being all about sprints and features. Well, to cut to the chase, theme-based roadmap mentioned that the leadership loved what they saw for the year 2022 and she got their approval. To make matters worse, outcome-based product roadmap joined in too. He is too obnoxious about the outcomes they would be achieving this year. He talked endlessly about the flexibility he gives to the product and agile development team of just focusing on business impact that improves customer experience rather than solutions and features like me. He believes to be the best roadmap due to the flexibility he gives to the product team to build, measure, test, and iterate over rather than pigeonhole themselves to incoherent features. Diary. He had the audacity to say he's the only one who moves the needle when it comes to business. I know for a fact marketing teams love him and like to work with him in their march towards making a business impact. But outcome-based roadmap was not always like this. There was a time when he focused on outputs with definitive dates that made him very unpopular with agile development team and the leadership. But he took matters in his own hands. He and his product manager went to a very popular rehab and revived themselves to become more outcome focused rather than output. After that, his life has never been the same. He became the favorite of a slot and the mantra for any team seeking to be agile and work towards making a business impact. But I know my worth. However much the agile development team loves the flexibility of the outcome-based roadmap, internal teams like sales team like to see what features we are building at the end of the day, which is why I believe there are people who love me too as their feature roadmap. I know I do a great job of showcasing what feature is coming up in the next sprints, months, and quarters. I'm the one that brings cross product teams together. After all, at the end of the day, it's the features or feature improvements that matter to a customer. Leadership might care about themes and outcomes, but I know I am the customer's favorite. Fine, I know I sound upset, but as my mentor, the product manager, said, each of us is important and relevant to different kinds of people. In this world, each of us has to play a role to play, and I'm happy to play the role I have been built for. Themes-based roadmap might be hoity-toity because of its influence on leadership, but even she knows I'm the one that pushes the product further. Together, themes, outcome, and I are very dear to our mentor, the product manager. It takes substantial time and effort to build us and seek alignment across all stakeholders. That is leadership, marketing, sales, cross-product teams, development teams, and other internal teams. It's a product vision that ties us together and makes us best friends forever, while product strategy makes us what we are today. Some people call us irrelevant and blame us for being a deterrent to the development teams being agile, but that's because they don't understand us. If used well and built well, we ensure everyone is aligned and aware at any point in time where the product is headed. We have evolved over time and will continue to do so to bring visibility and galvanize all stakeholders towards a unifying vision. We are here to stay. Phew, that's a load off my chest. Thank you for being there for me, dear diary. I need a good sleep now as my product manager is looking to make more changes tomorrow at the quarterly review. Good night. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Shruti. That was awesome. All right, Rosie, 2.5 minutes, please, on the timer, and we'll open it up for Q&A.
I can kick us off with a question. So Shruti, great speech. Loved how you formatted it. That was so much fun. Actually, I've never heard a speech like that. So awesome job. I'm curious from your experience in the different types of roadmaps you talked about, if your stakeholders are kind of like stuck on a feature-based roadmap, do you have any pro tips on how to get them maybe to move over to different types of roadmaps that you believe might help make an impact more?
Thanks, Laurie. That's a brilliant question. And I think everybody as a product manager struggles with that. And it depends. First of all, we have to identify how our stakeholders are and understand how to question them without saying no. So just asking some thought-provoking questions as to what do you think this feature would do? What business impact would it make? And like, what is your key goal? What are you looking to do this year? What is the business looking to do? Like, do they want to increase customer retention? And or what is the OKRs for this year? And then slowly tell them that how this OKR probably doesn't align with this feature, or we don't have enough data to align to it. So asking them these questions might slowly move them towards not focusing on features, but rather than on outcomes. Thank you.
Shruti, I have a quick question. I know Tanya showed a template for roadmap. What is your favorite tools to create product roadmaps?
Thanks, Sirisha. Honestly, I have not found one tool that sort of meets all my expectations. So I always come back to Excel. I don't know why, or Excel or PowerPoint, and just always come back to that. So there are great tools out there like AHA and Product Board and many others. But I just love the flexibility of a PowerPoint or a Excel, honestly.
Thank you.
I have a question, Shruti. I'm starting at a new company and I need to start developing my roadmap from scratch. How would you go about developing a roadmap from scratch? What kind of research or influence would you do and build it out?
Great question again, Anshu. First I would start asking the questions as to who I'm building this roadmap for. Like who's my audience? Is it the stakeholders? Like it is the leadership? Is it my internal team? And then go from there and then understand what your audience is looking for and build towards it. So I know this is a very crisp answer, but if you start thinking about which audience you're looking for and then and go from there. So leadership usually looks for if what you're building is moving the needle, like is it impacting the business and how is it impacting business? If you have a very good product leadership, they would not care about what features you're building. They don't care about the solution. So working on top of that, like bringing it up about saying that in Q1 we would increase customer retention by 8%. In Q2 we would probably learn more from it, and then we might have another hypothesis to make it better. So and then if you delve deeper, you might have an internal roadmap which also brings in some release information for the cross-product teams, like what are the dependencies, what are the risks, this is what my plan is, does this align with yours? So it just depends on the audience that you're building for. I hope that answered your question.
Okay, thank you all. So we're running just a few minutes ahead of schedule and we only had 2 speeches today, so we are going to have extra time for table topics. So up next, our table topics master today is Richu, whose learning curve in product roadmaps has evolved as she transitioned from sales engineering to product management. Her perspective being in sales was the features most demanded by customers and the dollar value of the opportunity were the deal breakers. But now, as a product manager, she knows the nuances are plenty and evolving. So I can't wait for these questions. Take it away, Richu.
Thank you, Madam Toastmasters. Shruti's speech was great. Siri's speech was extraordinary. During Q&A for Shruti, I think we ended up answering or questioning a few key ones that I had on my list. Having said that, I do want to go ahead and jump into what I have here. So while strategy documents usually define the why, PRDs like product requirement documents or details and MRDs define how. Roadmaps are usually what represent the what and the when. And this has been my experience. So on those lines, here's my first question. What, according to you, should a good roadmap include and why? And this question is over to Sarah. I can repeat my question. So what, according to you, should a good roadmap include and why? And if you had some creative insights or creative inputs in the past that you've tried out, we'd love to hear them too.
Thank you, Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. That is a great question. And during the first part of this meeting, I was actually thinking that very same question of what would a good roadmap look like. Like many have mentioned in the past in previous meetings about tools used for product roadmaps, I also use tried and true PowerPoint. I don't have any tools at my disposal, so it's very scrappy. But for my stakeholders, it seems like it's a combination of the theme as well as, so the theme by quarter, I may add, as opposed to the entire atlas that Tanya had showed us at the very beginning. I think quarterly is really important for my stakeholders. And I don't go too far out, just typically for the year, versus a vision, which is much longer and goes past a year. Also, I include the outcome, the expected outcome based on the hypothesis that Sruti had mentioned. So the outcome of what we're looking to accomplish for that quarter, so that the developers and our stakeholders understand what we're focusing on. Another thing that I've included on a roadmap is the return on investment. I'm not sure if that is really the best place to put it. However, if I give my stakeholders too much documentation, sometimes it can get lost. So I find that basically my roadmap looks like a combination of what Tanya showed with the objectives, and I believe there was also a timeline on there, but I include the return on investment. So what would this look like? What would the service, how would the service help our external customers, our internal customers, and what would it cost for our development, not only to develop it, but to maintain it, to support it, to do patching and what have you. And that way it gives the whole vision, hopefully, to the stakeholder. So that's what I would include in an ideal roadmap, is the theme, the outcome, as well as the return on investment. Madam Table Topic Master.
That's a great response, Sarah. Thank you for sharing that. I actually didn't know there was opportunity to include return on investment on a product roadmap. So that's something new. And how do we communicate that? How we translate that into roadmaps is also something that I'm interested to learn more from you about later, hopefully. I'll go on to the next question now. So there are sometimes disappointments that sales teams share if certain feature or function or something wasn't included on the roadmap, which probably would impact some of their business, not all of their business, but some of their business. So it is actually key to know who are your stakeholders, and at the same time, key to know who should participate in that roadmap planning. So my next question is, who, according to you, should partake in roadmap planning and why? And I'll ask this question over to Olina. I hope I said your name right.
Yes, thank you, Ritu. It's a wonderful question regarding stakeholders, because overall, as we know, the whole idea of a roadmap is to help manage and align stakeholders. The person, I think, still, if you involve too many people in managing the roadmap, it can get a little tricky and messy. As you know, developers are going to push on what they need. The CEO is going to tell you a completely different story. Marketing will not understand why their features and needs are not included on a very detailed level on there. So it can become a huge complication. So I suggest, well, that's why we have a product manager who creates a roadmap. And then I think the main challenge for the product manager is to align all these stakeholders and explain the why. Why are we only including high level explanation here? Because we don't know for sure what's going to happen in Q4 of this year. It's a little bit far out and many things depend on that, but we still need to know what is going to happen on a very high level. So I think if you explain the why to every department or stakeholders or people who need to be involved, that's the key. But planning, I don't think too many people can be involved realistically into that without having a huge war about features and everything that needs to be on it. So definitely the explanation is the key, the communication is the key, and how you can sort of pitch your product roadmap to all the stakeholders. And that's our job, and it's an interesting one. So it's January right now. I hope you pitched all your product maps to your stakeholders successfully. Thank you. Thank you, Richie.
That's a great response, Alina. And in my experience, I would say that's very similar to what I had to go through in the last 3 months. So a product manager still drives the why and the end result to what goes into the roadmap, although there are stakeholders involved in responding to your why. So my next question is something like this. So different companies use different frameworks for function or feature prioritization, like the RICE framework, which is reach, impact, confidence versus effort. And then there's the Moscow, must have, should have, could have, won't have this time. So the question is, what prioritization framework do you use to arrive at the final roadmap? And what are some of the benefits or pitfalls that you'd like to share with us today? And I'll forward this question over to maybe our guest, to Sophia. Sophia Brad, did I say your name right? I can repeat.
Sorry.
Sophia, I'll repeat.
The framework which our company uses.
Yeah, what prioritization framework do you use to arrive at the final roadmap? Some of the key benefits or pitfalls, if you'd like to share with us today.
So the product prioritization framework, which is used in our company, is the must have, should have, and could have. So right now I'm working on a launch of a new product, and this is the minimum viable product. And so the benefit is that the features which absolutely must be included for the end users to use the product on a minimum level, those are included. The nice to have features, they can be included after the product goes live. And the pitfalls regarding the must have, should have, could have be that in order to enable the adoption for the product, if there is some feature which would make the users adopt the product more, that will not be included. But that of course depends on the budget and the timelines which are set by the company management.
Indeed, thank you. Thank you, Sophia. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
And there are a few more prioritization frameworks that depends on companies. It also depends on the product manager. So my next question is, after the roadmap is finalized and it's been shared with all the stakeholders, there are still many things that can go wrong, because after all, it's just a map, right? So a certain feature could be delayed, or a potential target customer, like the total addressable market itself, could shrink. Something like COVID, like the gym treadmills, the market for that shrank. And on the other hand, Peloton's market grew by 4x, right? So is there a way to really risk-proof a product roadmap? And how do you allow some room for these market changes? I know those are two questions and two different heavy questions. Feel free to answer as shortly as you can. And I'll forward that question to Jen. I'll repeat my question. Is there a way to risk-proof a product roadmap? And how do you allow room for the market changes, which can add the risk?
Yeah, so thank you for that question, Ritu. I think it's important to think about roadmaps as never being final, right? And that's part of the main piece that, especially in our agile world, if we're thinking about it as roadmaps are not final, what are the things that we can do to put in place to de-risk our roadmaps? You publish it, it doesn't mean it's going to be the end all be all. I think what's important to be thinking about for your roadmaps is really I like to start with what is that problem we're going to try and solve and understand how that links back up to your market segments. So if you think about de-risking your roadmaps, part of that means is understanding truly what are the problems that are out there for your customer segment and making sure that that segment aligns to your overall company strategy or a business unit strategy, and revisiting it time and time over again on periodic basis. So what I always suggest to do is revisit those assumptions on at least a quarterly basis and keep an eye on that. The other thing that I also think that it can help de-risk your roadmaps is also having a periodic cadence in which you're looking at the execution component to make sure that if those execution pieces from a development perspective are sliding, that you are putting active conversations in place to help reduce the slide in or out and make sure you have good communication. And the last thing that I always try and encourage people to do is have multiple options. So as things start changing in the marketplace, making sure that your items on your roadmap really have a good, clear definition of done, so that if you do have to pivot, then you can pivot quickly without having these monolithic features out there that never actually get done. You can cut it off where you need to, right? So there is a strong vision piece along with a execution piece.
That's a great answer, Jen. Thank you so much. I learned 2 new things.
Yeah.
Kind of reiterating what could be done better. Thank you.
Yep.
I do have one more question, and it is going to be the last. So after a pivot due to market changes like we just discussed, and arriving at, let's say, a newer product roadmap accommodating to today's customer needs, market changes, trends, etc., it is indeed the role of a PM to guarantee the launch and launch at the right time, right? So you've already missed the first one. So you've redone it and you want to make sure this time it's right. And the timing is also right. To achieve this, how do you retroactively measure these product goals that are put on the roadmap? And I'll forward this question over to Tiffany.
Wow, that's a really great and advanced question that I feel like I do not have the knowledge to answer appropriately.
But let's take a stab at it. I can help you out as we go. So we've redone a product roadmap across the market has changed. So how do you measure, how do you retroactively? So this is even before the product is launched, how do you start measuring the kind of key metrics do you start measuring so that the roadmap is indeed what you put out and the product is launched on time? So some things could be measuring the resources required to get the product out. You're measuring if you have the right leadership alignment. So do you want to add something on the lines of that?
An exercise I've personally been doing is trying to find my product's North Star metrics and trying to find leading indicators rather than lagging indicators. For example, something like monthly ARR. My product is B2B SaaS platform, so naturally sales cycles are a bit too long. ARR would naturally turn into a lagging indicator. So really breaking down and understanding my product strategy more and trying to find those product flywheels to find those naturally occurring feedback loops and tying those back to some types of metrics would be my go-to.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for volunteering and thank you for answering, Tiffany.
Great question, really thought-provoking.
All right, that was the end of the list. So back to you, Madam Toastmasters.
Thank you so much. Those were fantastic questions. Reminder to send your vote in the chat to our vote counter, Sina. I will just recap for you the 5 contestants today. Sarah talked about the keys to a good roadmap. Elena talked about who should have input to the roadmap. Sophia talked about prioritizing and prioritization frameworks. Jen talked about risk proofing and managing market changes. And then Tiffany just told us all about metrics. I feel like this was a very well-rounded table topic session that touched on everything, a lot of things that we need to be worried about as product managers. So great job to everyone. So now we will move on to our general evaluator and the evaluations. As you know, Monique Tucker will be our general evaluator today. She's a product manager at Capital One, and she's excited by cross-functional teams and great user experiences. She's a San Diego native who currently resides in Dallas, and in her free time, she likes to read, dance, and laugh at a good joke. So Monique, the Zoom is yours.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster. And first of all, I will apologize as my internet is quite unstable. So just flag down if you can't hear me or if I missed something, so I apologize for that. So now we are at the evaluation portion of our meeting, and we will start with Svetlana, who is our first evaluator, evaluating Siri's icebreaker speech.
Thank you so much, Madam General Evaluator. And also same for me with the internet connection. So apologies in advance if I get a little bit interrupted. Siri, let's bring up Siri. I am so glad we finally got to hear your icebreaker. Fantastic speech. Could not be more proud of you. So a few things that I thought you did great at. You really set the stage with that, with the lifespan perspective, right? I thought that was really, really effective, an effective way to start. I also just thought that your topic and what you chose to share with us was a perfect icebreaker speech. Like that is what I personally look for, where we get an insight into who you are, both personally and professionally. So I thought that was fantastic. You have very strong and engaging eye contact and did a great job sort of speaking to us. And that kind of conversational, natural style that you have was really, really effective, especially for the kind of speech that you were delivering. Your use of PowerPoint had both like really effective moments and some moments that I'll give you a little bit of feedback on. But I really loved that you sort of left us with those three kind of takeaways that I literally noted down, because I thought like, this is a great reminder for all of us, right? That what we need to do to stay sane in life and in work is really to plan, prioritize, right? Organize. And I loved the use of kind of watching, what was it? Taking care of your core, right? And kind of how that is a literal and figurative kind of instruction for us all. I also love that you left us with such a thoughtful quote that I think elicited a lot of sort of internal rumination for all of us. So I will say that I think, PowerPoint is an art, not a science, and something that I think all of us continually learn to do, to use more effectively. For a speech like this, you may want your PowerPoint to really do the job of evoking more emotion rather than delivering sort of factual visualizations, right? And I'm sure you noticed the effect that that final slide that you ended up showing us after your speech had versus, some of the slides that you use with a lot of text. And so for speeches like this, like visual sort of emotive slides can be so much more effective than sort of textual text and factual slides. The summary slide, however, and the final quote, as I said, were very effective. And the final thing I would say is when you are, I think we all understood the connections that you were making throughout your speech. I do think that having slightly smoother kind of transitions between topics can make your speech an even more excellent sort of experience for your audience and make it easier to follow the flow. But overall, like, fantastic work. I'm so glad you're here, Siri, and thank you so much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Svetlana. Wonderful evaluation of Siri today. And now we have next our second evaluator, who is Olena, and she'll be evaluating Shruti. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. It's my pleasure to evaluate Shruti's speech. It was outstanding. I must admit, I've been with Toastmasters since the beginning of the club, since we launched it. And I've never heard a format that's been such a success. I mean, it's so engaging, it's so unique, and it's so fresh. I was, yeah, just kudos to you. This was amazing. It's the most unique format for sure. I really like, I think another great takeaway for all of us is how important it is to have a very clear structure of the speech where you have an introduction, what's going on. The way you started your speech, Shruti, when you lowered your voice and you dragged us all into this, like, what's going to happen? I'm going to tell you something here right now. Who am I? It was so wonderful. I'm like, we should all have these takeaways from your speech. I was writing down a lot, not to forget to mention anything, so we'll learn from your speech. So that was wonderful. Then you structured your speech in a very perfect way where you have 3 supporting stories. And in your case, you had 3 supporting characters. So you were talking about the 3 characters for your to support your story, which was fantastic. The closing was great as well. And it's really difficult to find something to give you feedback on, nothing but great feedback on the wording and the structure and the speech itself. Again, vocal variety, everything is great. But I think what you can challenge yourself with is to rely more on your gestures and something that can support your speech and really just bring it out even more for the audience. I suggest when you prepare for the speech, again, because right now it's all digital environment, we're all on Zooms, always try to make sure, you know, you're framing yourself in a way that we can see you. Maybe that way you can include the gestures because you were very close to the camera like this. And even if you were gesturing something, we couldn't see that. So that's something you can definitely bring up and be like, you know, first, second, third, it just goes a long way. Then you feel more comfortable. I also challenge you to rely more on yourself and believe more in yourself. I'm pretty sure you can do without the notes. You can just, because you tried to look at the audience. At that moment, it just clicked. You were connected. I was drawn into the story even more. But when we read, it just takes away a little bit. So again, the content is great. The story, I was like, okay, who's the next character? How's it going to turn out? But yeah, when you read it, it just takes a little bit away. So again, gestures, that's a challenge for maybe the next speech. Maybe just try to, you know, not the whole thing, maybe just a little bit here, a little bit there, but just something to keep in mind. Frame your camera. And again, believe in yourself. You can do without reading. When I started, you should look at my first speeches. I was reading like, I didn't even put my eyes up. I was so scared, but it's different right now. And again, the closing was great, how you aligned everything together, the conclusion, everything came together and it was wonderful. Even that exhale with the, phew, I feel better right now. I was like, ooh, that was such a relief. It was wonderful. It's a great closing and we learned a lot from you today. So thank you for sharing. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And back to you, Monique.
Thank you so much, Olena, and thank you to you and Svetlana for your wonderful evaluations of our speeches today. We will now go on to the evaluation of the meeting overall. So starting with Marguerite as grammarian, please tell us how we did and how many people used Galvanize today.
Thank you, Monique. So I don't know if I missed anyone, but I definitely caught Sharisha using Galvanize. I was taking a lot of notes of the speeches, so I'm sorry if I missed anyone else who's in Galvanize. I think everyone did pretty great with grammar. It was interesting to follow along. This is my first time as grammarian, I think, and it was interesting to hear how people use sort of different sayings like turn back the clock and time and time over again, like different variations on common sayings. Nothing wrong, but it's just interesting to see like how these common sayings shift as we use them all the time. And a couple of just interesting turns of phrase that I noticed. I think Shruti said, I just got a kick out of her saying that future roadmaps are the least pretentious of the roadmaps. And something that a phrase that just sounded really nice, except from Sharisha, accepting failures gracefully. Just had a really nice flow, and it stuck out to me in her speech. And I also like something that Tiffany said, our guest, that we could use in marketing, Toastmasters plus women in product, a great combination. I thought that was a fun turn of phrase. And that concludes my grammarian report. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Marguerite. So next we have Amalia talking about how many times we used our filler words today.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, and thank you all so much for a wonderful meeting. I'm going to go ahead and go through the filler words that were used. Again, everyone did a really great job. I know some folks had more time that they were spending speaking, and so there might be a few more filler words that we might have noticed. We'll start off with Rosie, 2 ums, Tanya, 1 1 Richu, 5+ ums, 2 so's, 1 like, Seema, 1 Marguerite, 2 ahs, 4 ums, 1 so, Sarisha, 4 ums, 2 so's, 1 but. Onto no filler words. Shruti, 1 5+ ums, 1 so. Swati, no filler words. Lori, no filler words. Sarah, 2 ahs. Elena, 1 5+ ums and 1 so. Sophia, 1 5+ ums and 1 so. Jennifer, 1 so. Tiffany, 3 ums. Svetlana, 5+ uhs and 5+ ums. Monique, 2 uhs and 1 Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Amelia. So next we have Rosie to tell us how we did on time today.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'll start off with Siri. I didn't count the minute that it took us to set up, but even so, the time was 7 minutes and 40 seconds. So you're well on your way for the longer speeches. Shruti was 6 minutes and 4 seconds. So just within the time frame for her speech. Onto the table topics, Sarah was 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Elena was exactly 2 minutes. Sophia, 1 minute and 10 seconds. Jennifer, 2 minutes and 4 seconds. And Tiffany, 40 seconds. For the evaluations, Svetlana took 3 minutes and 40 seconds, and Elena, 3 minutes and 27 seconds. So far we're pretty good.
Thank you, Rosie. So now I will give my overall evaluation of the meeting today. First, I again apologize for my internet connection. I definitely will have to go back and watch this video because I so much enjoyed the topic today. Since it's beginning of the year, talking about product roadmaps feels so apropos, just because that is my life at work right now. I'm not sure if anyone else is in the same boat. So just like, thank you. We had 2 awesome speeches today, like super creative. learned a lot of that. Now, I'm a little bit more about the specifics of today. Before the meeting, I guess one thing, I don't know if I was the only one, but I didn't get the usual invite for functionary roles before. But even still, most of the team joined early. So we were very clear that we had everyone here today. So that was great. And one thing we might consider in the future is kind of during that time frame, asking if people are planning to share any slides so that we can make sure we give permission to everyone at the beginning. So it'll be easier to do that during the meeting. Also, I will say that we started on time and got everything recorded, covered club business, and then we got to meet our 3 guests. So welcome for that. It's okay, Lori. we know what to do, but we're good. And then just again, I really love the prepared speeches, our topic on product roadmaps. Richu, thank you for the super interesting and thought-provoking product roadmap questions and everyone's thoughtful answers. I think product roadmaps is something I still feel like I'm trying to get better at. So I really appreciate all of the things that I learned from the group today. And evaluations, very, very thoughtful and great call outs for our speakers, and then also supportive reports from our grammarian, odd counter, and timer. Overall, just I thought the meeting flowed very well. Great pinning of the appropriate people throughout, and we are just like pretty much doing quite well with time right now. So I will punt back to our Madam Toastmaster. Back to you, Tanya.
Thank you so much, Monique, and to all of our evaluators today. Now we would like to find out who the winner of the table topics is. So Sina, please tell us who wins the coveted bragging rights for the next 2 weeks.
Sure. So thank you everyone for participating. It was very thoughtful. I totally agree. One thing I want to highlight is Tiffany and Sophia. Thank you so much for joining as a guest. We look forward for more. So the bragging rights for today goes to Jennifer, and great job.
Thank you. Congrats, Jennifer. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for a great meeting today, to all our participants and our guests, and I hope you enjoyed today's topic. I did definitely learn some things, and which was fantastic. So for now, I'm going to throw it back over to our president I don't know what you're calling yourself today, Jennifer, but I'll throw it back over to you. And happy birthday to Erica if she is going to watch this later. We wish you a very, very good day. And with that, Jennifer,
yeah,
you could wrap us up.
Yeah, thank you very much, Tanya. So just as a reminder, next meeting is our club contest meeting. So again, I really encourage folks to show up for that and support each other. Again, many of these folks are preparing their speeches. It's one of the bigger events for our club this year. The other piece here, I'd like to remind folks, Lori, you can also chime in here. I'll just kind of walk through people. This last part of the agenda here. Do please fill out forms for your next speaking or functionary interests after our club contest. Tanya did a fantastic job corralling everybody, making sure everybody is going to show up today. We understand there's going to be last minute switcheroos that happens all the time, but also just, if you're going to pay attention to your functionary roles going forward. And if you want to sign up for something, do it. Now is a great time for you to be able to sign up for your next speech. And just like Sruti mentioned, you got to practice. You got to practice if you're going to want to get better at speaking. And that's what we're all here for. All right. Anything there to add, Lori?
I posted the form in the chat, and also suggest meeting topics. So the year's still open. If you got topics you want to hear about, like feel free to throw them over to us, and I'll put them in the pool for what we got.
All right. Well, with that, I will go ahead and close the meeting out and invite anyone, guests, or other club members who have questions. Please feel free to stay on. I'll stay on for a little bit more here, and hopefully I can field them. What a great meeting. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.